You have to change your thinking on how you work with realtors. And so the first thing you have to understand is let's just get it out of there. Hold on, let me clear this. No, that's correct. Um, Realtors versus wholesalers. You guys hear this all the time. If you want to make a comment on this, I would love to hear it. This debate's been going on ever since I started. Okay. It's like, and everyone thinks it's like a fight. To be honest with you, it is a feud. So, what's that famous feud? They did an entire TV show, and actually, I loved it. But this feud's been going on probably since it came predominant in the 90s. Okay. From the 80s and before, wholesalers were really not even known. It was like a secret little weapon. And I'm telling you, for the last 30, 35 years, there has been a massive war waged. And who is winning? Well, it depends on which side you ask. So that's how a feud works. Realtors strongly believe that wholesalers take food off their plate and cost them commissions, hands down. And then wholesalers believe realtors, all they want is full price, and all they're ever interested in is listing a property, not truly helping out the homeowner. And there is some truth on both sides of that. Let's just be honest with you. So what we need to understand is, how do we work with realtors without getting killed? And that's what I'm here to show you today, because God knows I got the scars for this one. And so if you understand that the realtor wholesaler feud is there, I'm going to tell you how to avoid it. So we can't change an entire industry's opinion of us. So you can only do it of yourself. So, in the feud's there. Number two, 95% of all real estate transactions go through a realtor. If you understand that, that is the power in working with a realtor. Now, we don't want to do 100% of all transactions on the market. Actually, quite the opposite. We're usually focusing on 3 to 5%. But understanding that 95% of human beings that own properties choose to work with a realtor, if you understand that stat, you will be open to working with realtors. It's really important to do that. If not, you're missing out on 95% of the market. Now, what you're probably saying, well, Rick, realtors only deal with the nice, pretty houses. I'm here to tell you, they deal with train wrecks all the time. The difference is they don't know how to deal with them, and you can't just list those properties. So I'm going to walk you through on how to work with a realtor if you want to do a wholesale deal, and hopefully I can open your mind on it. But if you just do that, I'm a wholesaler, and try to run over the realtor, you're literally going to waste your time. So you got to change your mindset and how you talk to these realtors, because every realtor thinks every wholesaler should be licensed, which I think is an utter joke. And so if you can talk to the realtor like you're an asset to them, someone that can help them out, as opposed to a competitor, you'll actually get somewhere. If you want to get in that, I'm better than you're better, you take money out of my commissions, you want full retail and you're not licensed, you're never, ever going to win that argument. So if you understand that up front, it's much easier to deal with working with realtors. So I've tried every way to work with realtors, and the system I'm about to show you, it's kind of foolproof. It works really well. And remember, you have to speak from the benefit of the realtor first. So if you look at it like that and stop looking as a battle, you'll go much further. So the first thing we want to do, stop using the word wholesaler. Okay. It's a terrible negative connotation, because NAR, the National Association of Realtors, is on a mission to weaponize the NAR, this group organization, to try to ban wholesaling, or better yet, try to make sure every wholesaler has to get a license to become a realtor for something you don't even want to become, because that's how strong arm organizations work. And so understand, most realtors are brainwashed from NAR that wholesalers are bad. We ruin the industry. We destroy people's lives, and we operate recklessly. So the first and foremost thing is, if you're doing any of those things, stop or get out of the business. Okay. Every now and then there's a few bad apples that ruin it. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. It happens in all of them, and we're never going to eradicate it completely. So the rule number one, when you work with a realtor, is just eliminate the word wholesaler because it has a predetermined definition and it's very negative in the realtor world. So stop introducing yourself as a wholesaler and they will at least be receptive. If you say, hey, listen, I'm a local wholesaler, the minute they hear that word, they're like, oh, that's right. They told me in school about you wholesalers. You guys screw people, you steal little old ladies' houses, and like you wreck this business. And we know that's not the truth, but that's what they're told. So if you've ever dealt with someone that's been fed a bunch of garbage in their life, understand the best way to go around it is just use different words. So to this day, I am adamant about saying I'm not a wholesaler. And if a realtor asks me if I'm a wholesaler, I said, I'm not a wholesaler. I'm a problem solver. I'm a cash buyer. I take transactions that you normally struggle to get sold and I get them sold quickly and I meet all your expectations. Do you care to hear how we do it? And that's it. Guys, get away from the word wholesaler. It's like a 4-letter word. I'm just telling you. If you tell a realtor, they're going to go ask their broker, and the broker's going to tell them to stay away from you at all costs, and you're never going to get anywhere with them. So if the only thing you get out of our conversation today is do not use the word wholesaler, you are going to make tremendous strides in working with them. Ask me how I know this. I literally just went through this on training two of my marketing people, and that's what they wanted to do, introduce themselves as a wholesaler, and I'm telling you why it's a bad deal, okay? It doesn't mean wholesalers are bad, but it has the same connotation. If somebody tells you he's a used car salesman, what's your immediate perception? Sleazy, quick talker, will do anything to get a sale type of deal. And that's what the word wholesaler has come synonymous with any type of realtor organization. So just avoid it. It'll help you out tremendously. Okay. Let's see. Now, the avatar for the realtor you're looking to work with. This one is critical. I'm here to tell you 90% of the realtors that you think you want to target are ones you don't want to do anything with. So I cannot control the mindset of a realtor. So I have to go hunt a certain type of realtor, create an avatar of the one I'm looking for. And I'm going to give you a quick cheat sheet, the ones I find that work best to work with investors, aka wholesalers, just like me. Now, remember, I'm using the word wholesaler as an internal conversation with us because I know most of you are wholesalers or you're aspiring to be a wholesaler. Just outside of this relationship, even with your sellers, don't use the word wholesaler. It confuses people and you'll get a negative connotation if they look it up on Google. Trust me. So the avatar of the type of realtor, I would love to tell you, just go out and find 100 realtors and pitch every one of them. Don't do it because it's like beating your head against the concrete. It's not going to work. So here's what you want to do. Number one is I like to find realtors fresh out of school that don't have a huge opinion of how we operate as wholesalers, or I'm going to find someone that's been in the business a long time and just kind of wants to go on cruise control and likes the investor thing, but they can't do it themselves. Now, I don't want to work with a realtor that's already a pseudo investor because the obviously discrepancy, they're just going to keep whatever deals come across their desk and you tend to waste your time. So in the beginning, I would go to local RIA meetings. It stands for Real Estate Investor Association. And I go, hey, listen, I'm looking for an investor-friendly realtor. Well, I got them. But the problem is they're doing the exact same thing you and me are doing. They just have a real estate license doing it. And you're never going to get a deal from them. They're great to talk to. They're actually fun to network with. But let me tell you this, that type of realtor is never going to bring you a deal. Why? Because when it comes across their desk, they're going to take it down themselves. So I don't find going to RIA meetings very productive for finding realtors that want to give me wholesale deals. So how do I find these people? I'm going to give you like a little secret here. Number one, you can actually go online and in most of your state organizations, you can either download anyone who got their realtor license in the last 90 days. You can do it as early as the last 30 days. And there's even services for 10 or $20 that you can get the entire spreadsheet with their phone number, their email address, and their name and everything. The really cool part about realtors is you get their email and you get their phone number. You never have to skip trace them because they're very public, the nature of the business, because they're licensed. So I would go out and chase all the brand new ones. And it's that simple because they're naive and they don't have a history of what goes on with investors and wholesalers, and they're much more open to working with you because they're just desperate to get any type of deal. Number two, I find people that have been in the business 10 years plus. 10 years plus is critical, and they're intrigued by investors, but they never want to do it themselves. But they would love to like find deals, bird dog for you, and they find it exciting to work with. And either one of those two are, in my opinion, the best fit. The ones that work independently with small, like brokerage boutiques, who usually work the best. The ones with a large, like Remax and stuff like that, they're beyond brainwashed. You cannot work with them because they have a set way of doing things. And because they're giving up almost 30% of their commissions to your broker, they have to pay attention to them. So I want to find someone on a small boutique type of broker where they can kind of do what they want, but they still want to interact and work with an investor like me. So I'm going to either find them 10 years plus or fresh out of school. The ones in between. So if you go to Remax and you want to talk to like 10 agents, which is what I used to do in the beginning, you have to get past the broker, and the broker is usually somebody with 20 years experience, and they don't like wholesalers at all. And they read right through you, and it's difficult, and it's a very big pain in the butt. So for that reason, I don't want you to do that. So brand new ones or ones that are established that have interest in the investing space, but never want to do it themselves. So the next part of this, you have to create what I call relationship currency. It's the only way to get with your realtors. You are not going to build this overnight, and you're not going to get it done in a week or two. You have to spend time. So what I try to do is just have a cup of coffee, maybe go get like a sandwich. Coffee is usually the best thing to do. Talk to them about the market, what's going on, and I make it all about them. That's it. I don't even bring up what I do. I just let them know I'm a cash buyer because they're going to ask up front. So once they tell me what they do, they'll tell me how many sellers they're talking to, how many buyers they're talking to. They'll give me intel on everybody in the office, and I work it up over time. After about 30 to 60 days, then if they've passed the snuff test, meaning this is a person I want to work with, they're open to talking to me, they're not completely brainwashed. The ones that are completely brainwashed by the brokers and like the Remax training and stuff like that, you're literally going to waste your time. So like the Century 21s, the Remax, like the big names, and they're all in an office there, and they're paying like these max commissions to their brokers. Those ones never, ever, ever work out. So once I find someone that's a little bit independent like that, I meet with them a few times. The third time is now I'm developing a relationship. And if you guys have any type of relationship, you understand relationships take time. They're never built in one or two sittings. Now, if you want to do this for the long term, if I meet with 10 realtors, usually 2, maybe 3 move on to the next meeting. Why? Because some of them are just so anti anything investment, anything that's not listed. Everything's got to go through a mortgage. I am not going to pitch someone that's not open to what we do. You're wasting your breath. Save it for the people that you can actually work with. So this relationship currency is going to cost you 30 to 60 days of your time. But I'm telling you, if you do it right, they will feed you deals for the rest of your life. I've been doing this 20 years. I have one realtor that's given me over 70 deals. And I started out just the way I'm explaining it to you now. See, so many wholesalers want to run people over to try to get a deal out of them, and they overlook the basic part of how you do networking. Okay. So if you guys have never done networking and say you want to go to your local real estate investors association meeting, the best way to do it is go in and ask what you can do to help other people out. How can I find you more buyers? How can I find you more sellers? How can I find you more contractors? But the reality is most wholesalers show up and they go, give me all your cash buyers. I need your cash buyers right now. Like they don't even say hello. This happens to me on a daily, if not monthly basis. Once I know that, I know you're just a greedy person and you're only out for your own interest, and I'm not going to do anything to help you out until you show a sign that you want to have a mutually beneficial relationship. Who wants to just provide information on the one side and you get nothing? Nobody. So you have to be the giving person up front to find if they're going to reciprocate. And if they don't, you move on. That's how you use the relationship currency. So this leads me to my next part, which is kind of the bread and butter in it. The Whiffer. Anybody knows what the Whiffer stands for? Okay. So it stands for, it is just a little acronym, and I came up with it years ago. What's in it for the realtor? So you guys are used to WIFM, which is what's in it for me. So when you work with a realtor, they want to know what's in it for the realtor. And here's where you have to speak realtor language, not wholesaler language. And it goes simply like this. Mr. and Mrs. Realtor, it's simple. If you find a property that meets my expectations, it needs this, this, and this, then what I want to do is go ahead and pay your commission when I buy it. And then at the event, if it works out, I would give you the first opportunity to relist the property when we go to resell it. Now, I never promised the latter part of it, because if you're a true wholesaler, you don't relist properties. So I rather just pay them their full commission, because if they know they're getting their full commission, they're going to help you get the best price possible. They're also going to give you the most important piece of information you can get from a realtor is their relationship with their client, and they're going to have to tell you everything. If they do that, you cut your learning curve down by a month or two. Why? Because you're buying the relationship of the realtor so you can put in a cash offer to make it work. Hey, Rick, this house, there's 2 windows boarded up. It's covered in fleas and the AC doesn't work and the roof's very questionable. It's got 2 really leaky spots. I don't know what to do with it. And then I work with the realtor. Well, what do you think the property's actually worth if it was all fixed up? So I have them go ahead and do the comps. You know how I feel about comps. Have them do a nice, pretty analogy. And I go, listen, I tell you what if I could buy this, pay you your full commission, and possibly have you relist the property? What do you think is a fair offer to make on this, knowing I have to make a profit and I want to pay you twice? All of a sudden, it all shifts. They're going to tell you, well, the realtor, they told me they would take 92,000 if they got if they could get like a no BS offer. And then I kind of work backwards from there. You see, the difference here is I worked through the realtor instead of running them over with the cash offer. And that's the problem, is because these realtors have already talked to the owner and they're basically their guard dogs. They have all the information, Chip. They have the relationship. So you're never going to have the relationship with the owner unless the realtor allows you to do it. Sometimes they want me to do it because it's such a train wreck, but other times they go, Rick, if you can just give me $100,000, I know they'll take this offer. And honestly, if the numbers work, I'm all in, because they just saved all the drama. And very rarely does a deal with a realtor ever fall apart, because the realtor does what? They wanted to close, so they keep the whole thing alive. So it's critically important that you respect the realtor and you work through just like I showed it. Like when you do it, you go, hey, what do you think it's worth in the perfect conditions? How much do you think the damages are on it? And you can hobble with them and they go, listen, if you expect me to make a profit and get you paid maybe twice on this deal, what do you think is a fair number to offer your client on this? Like a no hassle deal. You never have to show the property. We make it really simple. I get the realtor excited because they know what a challenge it is. They don't want to list these crappy properties because it's a pain in the butt to vet cash buyers. Most realtors, here's the truth, they're terrible at cash deals, especially houses that need fixing up. They don't understand how it works, and they don't understand why people just won't get a mortgage anyways, which leads me to my last point. So we've gone at what's in it for the realtor. You've got to pay them their commissions, and you got to make them feel important in it. And you want to use them to filter the relationship unless they invite you to take it over. So the last one is training and expectations of a realtor that works with a wholesaler. So number one, if you have the realtor call you on every listing they have or every customer they talk to, you're going to drive yourself nuts. Why? Because after about the 10th or 12th deal the realtor calls you on and you're not taking any action, you're just one of those wholesalers and you're wasting my time. So here's what you need to do instead of that. Sit down and take the time and tell them exactly what you're looking for and put it in layman's term. I'm looking for ugly houses that need lots of repairs, that are very difficult to show. And if you have an out-of-town owner, that's even better. And we're going to fund it with cash, which solves all your inspection problems, everything else going on, and we'll make it a fast, quick closing. If you have someone like that or someone that really needs to sell a house fast and there's room for everyone to share in it, call me on that deal. And honestly, if you only call me once or twice a year, I'm okay with that. I don't want to waste your time. The number one complaint all realtors give about wholesalers is we waste their time. So when I started out, getting free comps was like the big hook in with realtors because we didn't have any online tools. So we actually had to go to MLS and you had to have a relationship with a realtor. Fast forward today, you don't need that nearly as much. Actually, you don't need it at all. So I want to make sure when they bring me a deal that I got a good shot at buying it, because if they say they bring you 3 or 4 deals like this and you don't come through, they're just going to take you off the list. So instead of having them send you guys everything, narrow it down and tell them to send me your most tired, your weak, your poorest deals that, or maybe the deals in today's market. This is what I would add to it. The ugly houses, the ones that need lots of repairs, the ones that are incredibly hard to show that you don't think are going to qualify for a mortgage. Oh, and also if you have a listing that you've had on the market over 90 days and you just need to get an offer, I'll give you an offer. It might not be the number you want, but at least I can get you an offer for your client. By doing that, you solve 2 problems. Number one, you help them manage their client by, even if you put in a lowball offer, the realtor has to take it to the client and it might give her permission to negotiate on your behalf to get a better deal, or maybe she or he can get it down to the correct listing price. So you actually do the realtor a favor. And number 2, sometimes after 90 or 100 days, some sellers just give up and they want it sold, and the realtor wants it sold too because they're tired of it. And they're not always ugly and bad houses. So the one thing I'm adamantly against, I'm just here to tell you, is there's a lot of people that sell you kits to work with on-market deals with realtors. I'm telling you, as a true wholesaler, to do an assignment agreement with a property that's on MLS is very difficult. The gurus won't tell you that. They'll just tell you a system to do it. Think about this. It is already on the market. Everybody sees the price. If you get a lower price and try to ask for a higher price than what's on market, you're never going to get away with it. If you did, someone's got to be just beyond stupid. Number 2 is you create a lot of challenges on the inspection period of bringing people through the property. Unless it's vacant, it's very hard. So the only exception I would make if the property is vacant and you have the realtor's permission. But most people who do these MLS online programs, they're basically lying to the realtor, which is just going to make it 10 times worse and gives all wholesalers a black eye. And number 2, you stress the homeowner out. And then you stress the realtor out because they don't know what you're doing and they're confused. So I don't like doing it. And you have to make hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of offers. That's a lot of paperwork. That's thousands of pieces of paperwork for the occasional person that wants to talk to you. So I would just focus on doing exactly what. Train your realtors, give me your tired, your weak, your ugly homes, the ones that need lots of repairs. Oh, and by the way, if you have something on the market 90 days or longer, let's talk about it. Maybe I can help you get to the point where you need to get it for the correct listing, or maybe they take my offer and I get you paid your commission and it's a win-win. But you see, by doing this, instead of just going to the realtor and go, give me your best deals and I'm going to give you like 1% and I'm going to run I've paid realtors as much as 6 and 7% on these deals. Who cares? If I'm making a ton of money, who cares? Get the realtor excited. They should be happy, because if they do the deal correctly with you and they get paid, you solve the problem, they make money, you make money, and then they come back to you. So most of my realtors that do this, they only call me 2 to 3 times a year, although they're calling me a lot more lately, because the 90-day listing thing is becoming problematic, at least in the state of Florida, mostly the Southeast. So guys, that's it. You've got to train your realtors and set the expectations for what they're doing, because the reality is, if you ask them to bring you every deal and you don't buy every deal, they're going to label you as a time-wasting wholesaler, and you do not want to be in that position.